chances, dreams and goals. Many mixed emotions in my heart and soul. For some I made a plan and did the best I can. If God wills, things can happen. After all, I'm just a man. Choices, chances, dreams and goals. Many mixed emotions in my heart and soul. For some I made a plan and did the best I can. If God wills, things can happen. After all, I'm just a man.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear brothers and sisters, everyone in the world and everyone seeing us at Life Choices. We already have missed you since last week, and we're still continuing with the real inspiration by Sayyidina Omar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. Actually, we're speaking about Omar in lots of things. We spoke about Omar in planning and strategies, etc. And we spoke about Omar in responsibilities. But today, we'll speak about Omar in something everyone in the world is trying and striving to be good at, but actually the real model for this is Omar. But before we go in more details, I'd like to welcome my dear guest, the expert in human resources, Mr. Ahmed Afifi. Welcome, Mr. Ahmed Afifi.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi
wa barakatuh. Alaikum assalam. Thank you for having us again.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. It's an honor. Actually, we will be starting with Omar as strategist. Omar and the strategic planning. How Omar, by nature, he was a strategic planner. And I would like to start with a simple sentence. It is one sentence, but PhDs can be made only on this sentence. It was literally بئس الوالي الذي اهتم بعهده وليس بما بعده. Meaning, the worst leader or responsible or governor or president to take care of his time and neglect the one after. And only this sentence teaches that Omar radiallahu anhu, he was strategic planner by nature, by logic, just by the brain, right?
Yes.
So, but before we start, I would like to review the strategic planning model, the OGSM. We spoke about it. We'll display it on the screen. So shall we please have the strategic planning model? Yes, here is it. As agreed before, and this have been discussed in details in previous episodes when we were speaking about strategic planning, we said when someone sets an objective for his life, and then the goals, and we already spoke about it, we're just reminding you, refreshing your mind with the model of the strategic planning. So we spoke about objectives and how to set them, goals, strategies, measures, as a strategic planning document. And we also added responsibilities for who will be doing what, because sometimes we agreed that you could delegate something to someone to do it instead of you, or will support you at it, right? So thank you for the model. We'll get back to you, Mr. Ahmed Afifi.
Yes. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, of course, Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu is a great model for what we had here as an objective and strategist.
All right.
Okay, first of all, he continued the main purpose of Islam, which is spreading the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Correct.
And what happened is that this was the main objective we have. Spreading the words.
Yes, which is the message of Allah.
Yes, the message of Allah. So when we spread this words, what happened is that we go back a little in history. After Sulh al-Hudaybiyah, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam sent a message to the leaders of the world. One was to Persia, the other one was to Damascus, the other one was for Heracles in Rome, and for Egypt, for the leader of the Copts in Egypt.
All right.
And when he sent all this, Heracles did not respond, but actually you could say, send them a message of, I'll think about it, okay.
All right.
The Egyptian Copt, he sent a gift, a doctor, and two women, to Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Okay, and the other two, the Persian leader, he tore up the message, and the leader of Damascus, he tore the message and killed the messenger.
Right.
And because he killed the messenger, the only response they got was they declared war against the Muslims. Back then, the Muslims were only 3,000. And what happened is that a big battle, which was the Battle of Mu'tah, it was 240,000 Roman and Arabs from Damascus versus 3,000 Muslims. Okay, and after a long battle, the Muslims just retreated, but they proved a point. We are here. Okay, and after Mecca joined Islam and became Muslim, and the Muslims became, this time, the Roman Empire heard about this, and they said, these Muslims are growing, so it's time to get rid of all of them. And the second battle was the Battle of the Yarmouk, which was 40,000 Romans against 30,000 Muslims. And what happened is that they thought about it, and they said 3,000 stood against 240,000. So imagine 30,000. So, okay, let's retreat. So they started to retreat.
Yeah.
And the Arabs of Damascus and Jordan, they started to say, okay, these Muslims are really powerful.
Yes.
So this is the power of the world, of the words, and the power of the vision. It started off with Sayyidina Muhammad, yes, sallallahu alayhi wa
the power of
sallam.
the faith, actually.
Yes, in Mecca, just him.
Mhm.
Okay, imagine 30,000 joined him. Then these people started to join him.
Yes.
After Prophet Muhammad died, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Sayyidina Abu Bakr came, and the problem was the war of the Ridda, and the people who started to say we're no longer Muslim,
Yes.
because Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam died, all this stuff. So after that, Sayyidina Omar sent two armies, as we said, one to Persia, and the other one was against the Byzantine Empire, or the Roman. And this is where Sayyidina Omar radiallahu anhu continued the message or the vision. To do what? Or we start off with the vision, which is the spreading of the word of Allah.
Yes.
And then there's the strategy, how. And
Actually, before how, because this is something that's really critical here, that he continued. He didn't reinvent the wheel. He had like heritage from Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and then he continued.
Yes.
So it was end of time, and the next leader takes it, and they started where they stopped and continue.
Yes.
Because you and I know, and we have seen in lots of companies, some managers and some leaders in different countries, they come as new people. Hey, forget all the system you have, we will do something new.
Yes.
And of course, it's very difficult, and people get tired of it, and the results are always below expectations.
Yes.
Why? Because they didn't continue. While Omar radiallahu anhu, he continued.
Yes. So
And something that already came to my mind when Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu said, أتعبت من بعدك يا عمر. You already made
things harder for us, Omar.
things harder for the next Caliph, Omar.
Yes. Yes.
Why? Because he was working everything with his own hands.
Yes.
Why? Because he's really, really afraid to be in hellfire, and he was afraid from God.
Yes. Yes. But this is the important thing when you're establishing a department, you're establishing a family, you're establishing a nation.
Yeah.
Okay? Important thing that you have to put the infrastructure.
Yes.
The infrastructure is in the resources that you have.
So and this is the essence of planning.
Yes.
Yes.
And this is the second part. When you're doing a strategy, what is the first thing? You have your vision.
Yes.
After that, put your goals. After putting the goals, we start planning. How am I going to do this? And then we start to put the strategy.
Yes.
And the strategy is how are we going to reach the goal or the vision at the end. And what happened is that he started to establish the nation. And we talked about it before. He made management.
Yes.
And then important thing that he invested in the human resource.
Yes.
Okay? The young people. This is the word of God. And the most important thing, your mission, at least, teach the people, the non-Muslims, one verse, one hadith.
Yes.
You must teach the people. So their mission, they know that they must teach the other people. So it's teaching. And what happened is when the Persian Empire left and the Byzantine Empire left, okay, they're the ones that started the war with the Muslims.
Yeah.
Okay? And what happened is that the Muslims continued, and when the people stayed there without the Byzantines or the Persians, they started to learn, and they started to see how Muslims treat them right. They started to see the fairness and the justice. And all of this is the strategy. Building the nation for the next person.
Yes.
Yes. And what happened is that when you continue on, after that, after Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu died, Sayyidina Osman continued the same way.
Yes.
Until the nation of Al-Umayyah, okay, they continued with the same base. But they did not continue with the same heart. And
Of
this
course,
is
because hearts are different from
different
one to another.
from one
Yes.
person, and then the times changing.
Yes.
Okay, so we take this example and we start to look at a person. For example, you're young, you want to get married, so you start building yourself an objective.
Yes.
Okay, what's my objective? I want to get married. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So what
Many
do I
young men
do?
are really thinking about marriage.
Yes. So what do we need to do to get married? So the first thing is that you need to plan. So, okay, the plan, the assets, that I have a home,
Yes.
that I prepare for that home. Okay.
Yeah, the economic planning.
Yes.
Yes.
The economic planning is the number one. Then you start building your strategy. Your strategy goes with the girl that you want to get married to.
Yes,
Who?
because and we spoke about this before, because I see myself that your partner could put you on sky number 9,
Yes.
or set you underground number
Ground
9.
yes. So this is the problem. So you need to start building your strategy.
Yeah.
Who am I going to get married? Then you start spreading the word, communication of the strategy to other people, so you can
Yes.
reach your own goal. Okay? So what is the communication? The communication is that you start telling your parents, your relatives, I want a girl, she looks so-and-so, she looks maybe
So you
like
start
my
to
mom.
communicate what are your needs.
Yes, okay, start communicating my needs, and then slowly I start to starts to look, and then start meeting with their parents.
But
and
when
then
we get again to Omar and planning,
yes,
as Omar was a strategic planning by nature, because me, and as my title is strategy consultant,
yes,
but actually I get inspired by Omar in everything I know about strategy.
of course,
Omar already made it upgraded,
yes,
because I see most of the masters that wrote books, formulas, etc. in strategic planning. I see that Omar made something better than all of these
yes,
very, very long time ago.
Yes.
So I went back to the source and Omar and started to study Omar's life again for the
Yes.
second time,
yes,
just focusing on the strategic planning. So when speaking about Omar and the two sentences we said,
yes,
الولي هو تم لمن بعهده وليس من بعده, and the other sentence أتعبت من بعدك يا عمر. So these two words are sentences, are already future-oriented sentences.
yes,
Because Omar was building for who is coming,
Yes.
for the next generation.
yes,
How can we do this as human beings these days? Because one day your kid and mine will take over.
yes, yes.
What
So
will
I'll
be
tell you
leaving
a
them?
beautiful sentence I always heard. This was in the States. Okay, they always told the children in the schools,
Mhm.
"You are the future leaders of tomorrow."
Yes. which is correct.
Which is correct, which is true. And this has been said all the time. Okay? When you do this, these children, no matter what, they're children one day, and when they reach college or responsibility age,
Yes.
they start thinking, tomorrow I'm going to be a future leader.
Yeah, because they already got them planted in their minds.
Yes.
While they were young.
Yes, and this is what happened with the Islamic nation. What happened is that the young, when you want to do the right thing, you have to start with the young, the young people, the young generation. Actually, in Egypt, we have a great leader. His name was Muhammad Ali, and his family continued for more than 145 years in Egypt. And what happened
the
is
Egyptian economy at this time was stronger than the British economy.
Yes.
And it was Britain, it was like America these days.
Yes. And and what happened is that he started off with the young people. He started to send them to France,
yes, for
to
education.
learn, and he built a school, a military school, down in Aswan in the south, away from the parents. So the kids would meet their parents once or twice a month, maybe a week. Okay, but the important thing that I'm not going to say brainwashed, but brainwashed to the right place.
Yes.
And this strategy helped his grandson, which is Ismail, to build the Cairo that was more beautiful than Paris.
Yes.
Back then. Okay, the zoo, the Egyptian zoo, one day was the second most beautiful zoo on earth.
Yeah, it was. Because these days it's not that else.
It's not really, but back then they built that, okay, using all the resources. Where did all this brain come from? This brain came from his grandfather, who started to build the nation, and he started to build the Egyptian sheikhs and everybody abroad to learn, and then he brought a very good French general, and that French general converted to Islam. Suleiman Basha al-Faransawi, this was his name.
Yeah.
And Suleiman Basha, he taught the people in Aswan the military skills needed. And because of this, Egypt had a great army that actually united the Arab world, and they even conquered Turkey.
Yes.
Back then, okay? And all of this because of a strategy. And we started with the vision or objective to become the #1 nation between the Arab world back then. Okay. And it was built economically. He's the one that brought in the cotton, which is #1, the Egyptian cotton. So economically, we became #1.
Yes.
Okay. And the same thing with tobacco. He brought tobacco to Egypt.
Yeah.
And he brought other products to Egypt. And
he made already the economy to grow until we became #1 or 2 worldwide.
Yes.
But I see something that already came by nature in the Islam as methodology, as being Muslims.
Yes.
We all know that there will be an end for the entire world, and there's a judgment day.
Yes.
For everyone and everything on earth. Actually, when I think about this and about what we are doing now, the smart and the right people who are looking at the end, because we know what is going to happen.
Yes.
We know that there is an end. There is an end line. And we are all running towards this line.
Yes.
But who will go there and reach this line well prepared?
Yes.
People who will be in heaven, not in hellfire.
Yes.
So I see that the essence of a strategic planning or thinking ahead, it's in Islam already. Because all what we do is for something that will come later.
Yes.
And this is the essence of strategic planning. You start already to set some things that you will do for a time ahead. So the time ahead is the judgment day or the end.
Of course.
And it is coming, and it is soon, because 1,400 years ago, it was said it is close, it is soon.
Yes.
So what about now?
Well, what about now? Well, actually, the important thing is I was saying that it's very important that the individual looks at himself.
Yes.
Okay? And Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has 2 hadith. Okay? The first one was said, take knowledge, get the knowledge even if it's in China. Okay?
Yes.
The second was, if you're dying, or if it's Judgment Day, and you have a seed, plant that seed. Okay?
Yes. Despite that the world already is ending.
Yes. Just plant the seed. Meaning what? Meaning that you have to work and you have to get knowledge. So this is a message for everyone all over the world to get the knowledge, which is number one. Number two, which is parallel to it, is that you must keep your faith and you have to work. Why are you taking this knowledge? So you can teach the people the right knowledge and the Muslims the right way and the right path. When you do that, the people will, you will invest in the people, okay? And all of this are hasanat for tomorrow.
Yes.
Good deeds. Just because you're teaching the people, okay? And this is the most important part or aspect, because we must work. And work actually gives us a lot of good deeds. Why? Because when you work and do a product, teaching, making this glass, for example, and it's used for the right people, the right way, this gives you a lot of good deeds. And it erases a lot of bad deeds. So we must get educated, we must work, all of this parallel to the right path of what we're supposed to do as Muslims.
Yes.
So all of this is investment for Judgment Day, because every moment you're going to be asked about.
Yes.
What did you do on this moment? What did you do? How did you spend your life? So it's very important that you draw your strategy of, inshallah, I'm going to do tomorrow 1, 2, 3.
And actually we started to speak about it for our audience, because when you say something to yourself that I will do this and that, inshallah, actually by the time you go out of your home and reach work, you will forget about 50% and more. So we urged our audience in order to write it down.
Yes.
And check. What did you do? Did you do this, erase it, or checkpoint? This is happened, or this is done. This is in progress. This will be delayed. This is already cancelled, no problem. And this is, we see that as a support to the strategic planning. For more continuing about strategic planning and how Omar was a strategic planner by nature and the most effective and talented strategist I have ever read to after Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, will be discussed in more details with Dr. Ahmed Afif and me, but after we go to a short break. Please don't go anywhere, and see you soon.
Al-Imam al-Nawawi, may Allah have mercy on him, have indeed did a great and a tremendous job in compiling some of the most beautiful ahadith and relevant ayat in one of his marvelous works, which is known as Riyadus Salihin, or Gardens of the Pious. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all amongst the dwellers of Gardens of the Pious. Jannat al-Na'im. Allahumma ameen. Humans to be the best and give his best religion to them. Rasulallah, Habib Allah, Allah.
All and only glory to him.
TV commercials motivate viewers into immediate action and to sway consumer loyalty from one brand or service to the other. That's why we're here for you, to help you sell your products and services by using creative ideas that bring life into your own TV commercial. Advertise your business and branded products and services on Huda TV. We will offer you fast-paced and energetic 30-second affordable TV spots. Advertise on Huda TV. Acquire fresh customers and stay within your budget. For more info or to receive a quote, please send your inquiries to advert@Huda TV. Huda TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. Welcome back after the break in our show, Life Choices, and continuing with Omar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu as strategist. So getting back again to Mr. Ahmed, to Omar ibn Khattab,
Yes.
and how he planned. I see that, and we spoke about this before in previous episode, that Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, he made Islamic tribes from tribes to nations and countries.
Yes.
I see that by logic, this have already never came by chance. He had a plan in mind to reach to the farthest up to his ability of Islam, to make it as we know the achievements happened during Omar's time,
Yes.
from Cairo to Azerbaijan,
Yes.
and instead of tribes in the Gulf.
Yes. What happened is that Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, his plan actually, it started off with not just, they changed, the evolution was very slow. It wasn't really fast as some people see it.
Okay.
They were mostly tribes, and then they slowly evolved into armies, and then they were organized armies.
Yes.
And these organized armies started to fight with the world leaders or the powers back then. When they entered their cities, they started to learn
Yes.
that there's a city and it's more advanced, and they started to bring the good ideas from
Yes.
there. And this is how or what we need to learn as Muslims. When you visit other places, you need to pick and see the right from the other nation or the other place. What is right? And this is what the Muslims did. They started to bring the right ideas, the different shapes of palaces in Persia, and they started to make the mosques
Yes.
the same way.
Yes.
Okay, this later on happened. Okay, but this idea, and this is what happened with the tribes. Did the caravans change? No. They still had the caravans, the
Yes.
camels, and they moved
Yeah,
along.
because in Medina, Omar was staying in Medina,
Yes.
and they were staying the same, but the other Islamic nation came countries with very, very high walls, and
Yes. And this was the most
the
important.
people in Medina, oh,
Yeah, this was great. Was super.
yes.
So they started to learn from them, but at the same time, they started to take the ideas. But Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu
Radiallahu anhu.
made sure
Mhm.
that when people went inside these cities, they don't get over greedy,
Yes.
or they would feel the the power of, like, for example, when they went to Egypt. When they went to Egypt, what happened is that a lot of those soldiers, when they returned back to Mecca and Medina, their face started to turn more greenish, or more, they had more meat
Yes.
in their face. Okay,
Mhm.
so when Sayyidina Umar saw this, he told Sayyidina Amr, send the armies to the desert. And he told them why. He said because they drank the water of the Nile, and when they drank the water of the Nile, they became more heavy, and later on this will teach them to become more greedy, and this will teach them to stay in cities. And this taught them, yes, it's important that you learn from this culture,
Yes.
but you bring in the right
Yeah.
from the culture. And what happened is that things, of course, changed from simple tribes to become
Nations.
nations and cities, which we have till today.
But actually, I like the sentence you have just said. To take the good from the culture, because everything on earth that has the good and the bad side, in culture, in human, everything. And the bad thing is always easier and more attractive
Yes.
to the human nature.
Yes.
And the right thing is always the hard way, because it's the right way to happen, and nothing good comes easy these days.
Yes.
Right? I see that lots of people who, when they come and check another culture, especially the Western culture,
Yeah.
when these days we see that the Muslim culture being inspired by the West culture, most of the time, or up to my humble estimate, we take around 30 or 40% the good, and the rest, which is the majority, we take the bad.
Yeah, well, actually that's
So
20%.
sometimes we take, trying to be
a little
not
more
to be very
optimistic.
judgmental, but
Yeah.
sometimes you take the good and the bad at the same time,
Yes.
and not really thinking that even if something bad and small, it will destroy the good.
Yes. Yes. The problem mostly is that, as you said, and the best way to avoid this is, of course, the religious message. And the religious message
Get
is
back
that,
to our benchmark, which is
yes,
serving the message of Allah. We have already what is right, what's wrong, what's halal, what's haram, what to do, what not to do, and it is crystal clear.
yes. So this is the most important thing,
Not to
the
get
crystal
deviated,
message. Yes, the Muslim message, the Islamic message, you must have that,
Yes.
okay? Through the mosques, through the channels, and all that.
Mhm.
And it's very, very, very important that you must have that. And at the same time, we must see the effect of the bad before we get, or plus the good. You
Mhm.
must see maybe something good, like, for example, the way of communication, the
Mhm.
internet, okay? All of this is good communication, but you have to see what's inside of it, what's
Mhm.
bad, how can you prevent it. So this is actually the job of the families
Mhm.
and then the government. For example, do you have family internet?
Yes.
Is there a way to prevent anything bad from passing?
Mhm.
Violence to little children,
Yes.
teaching them all this stuff, okay? Because all of this stuff is just free information. And a lot of people say you're stopping the whatchamacallit, the freedom of speech.
Mhm.
But actually, it's not really the freedom of speech. Just protecting my children so they wouldn't have nightmares and they wouldn't be scared
Mhm.
and all that from seeing something very violent or something like an elephant to attack a man.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And they wouldn't go to a circus or a zoo if they see something like this.
Yes, they would
Okay.
get afraid of something that is good to see,
Yes.
but they saw the bad side of it.
Yes. So-
Actually, you remind me of the son of one of my friends. My friend was playing a game at home. He had this device, the PlayStation, at home, and he was playing a very, very violent game that has, when the hero of the game hurts someone with a sword, you have the blood, and it's extreme violence. And his son always sitting beside him and watching. Around a couple of weeks later,
Yes.
this child made something in the school. It was a fight or something, as I remember, and he hurt his friend and colleague in the school.
Yes.
He tried, when he had a fight with his colleague or friend at school, he was trying to imitate the hero of the game in order to beat his friend in the school.
Yes. Yes. And this is the problem. This is the major problem. The major problem is that when you get the goods, for example, let's say that there's a video game that makes you exercise.
Yes.
Okay? This is very good. It's fun. It makes you exercise. It makes you run. It makes children very active,
All right.
etc., etc. And at the same time, as we said it from the beginning, for a child, it's fun. Okay? And this is what's very, very, very important. Something like this is okay. But something like violence, or something like a strategic game that takes months or years to finish.
Yeah.
This is
Where
killing
is the
time.
message of Allah, and where is
Yes.
Omar, and what Omar did in all his life compared to what we are doing when we have a strategy game that takes months in order to complete, or when we play chess, sometimes for weeks and days, because I used to get addicted to chess, but
Yes.
I started to think this time is investment. I'm investing in the wrong area.
Yes. Well, actually, you can start to invest, or you can make games
Mhm.
that actually make you think about
Yes.
investing.
Mhm.
Okay, something like a board game, something called. I heard this game. It was about a drawing. You bring out a card and you start to draw, and this helps you
Mhm.
learn the methodology of drawing. Okay, or how
Mhm.
to express by drawing.
And
Okay.
actually, I see that the positive thinking and taking the advantage of the technology for serving the message of Allah. I see these days, when you read in the Holy Quran,
Yes.
you have a Holy Quran applications on your iPad,
Yes.
and with its explanation in Arabic and English, and some in multiple language as well.
Yes.
This is the use of the technology, the good use of the technology. While sometimes in the iPad as well, you can have some games, and you can have the Holy Quran, you can have a hadith, you can have the whole story of Omar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu
Yes.
in a complete application. So it is there, everything. But if we want to follow Omar
Yes.
radiallahu anhu,
Yes.
what to do these days and what to make. I see that at the time of Umar radiallahu anhu, they didn't have internet, they didn't have cars, they didn't have lots of things that we have today as gifts.
Yes.
And I see that its message or the use of it could be for making the message of Allah achievable more than before,
Yes.
and reaching other people more. Imagine that during the time of Umar they had internet and social media.
Yeah, very. Actually, they would see a lot of the right things of Islam, but at the same time, it's very easy that you would get the wrong message. These
Mhm.
Muslims are beheading. Do you know really that these are the Muslims or not?
Okay.
And this was the problem, and this is the problem with today's internet
Yes.
and today's modern technology,
Mhm.
is that you really don't know what's the real message here,
Yes.
or what is
I
really
see
going
this
on.
is a challenge because
Yes.
you have an easy way of communication, which is the social media, but you have a challenge that some people have negative thought about Islam, and some people are not really convincing that this is something true or real or honest.
Yes, and this is our job as Muslims. Our
Mhm.
job as Muslims is to lay out and strategically give the right message about Islam,
Mhm.
about our Prophet, about how we're supposed to deal. Okay? A lot of
Mhm.
people think, oh, the Islam, it's a very old religion.
Mhm. It's not all for all
it's
ages.
not, it's for all ages.
Yeah, all
Prove
areas.
it. This is our job, is to
Yes.
prove it.
Mhm.
And this is how modern technology works. You have to prove, and there was this show, a
Mhm.
Canadian show about Islam,
Mhm.
okay? It was very, very, very interesting. It was very modern, and it showed how a Muslim life could be carried in a country like Canada
Mhm.
and in other countries, okay? And this is most important.
Yeah.
And you see it all over the world.
Mhm.
Today you have a country, why do you have to take from the West? Maybe you can pick up something good from Japan in organizing, for example.
Mhm.
Okay, Malaysia, Muslim country.
Yes.
Why don't you learn from Malaysia?
Mhm.
Okay, why don't you learn and see the challenges?
Islamic economy
Yes.
in Malaysia.
Malaysia, same thing with Turkey.
One of
Turkey
the-
right now is the 11th country in the world economically.
Yes.
Okay, imagine all of this because they're working on an Islamic economy. So proving this and spreading the word,
Mhm.
this is our job today. And this is how strategically we can build Islam and the Islamic nation today.
All right.
And this is how modern technology is supposed to work.
Supposed to support us.
Yes.
But actually, I see that with the existence of technology and how people are using it, some of good brothers and sisters are using it for the good and really, really delivering the message of Allah. But as you said, comes strategically.
Yes.
We tell the people about the message of Islam, about Allah, about the traditions of Islam. And we bring them examples like Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, and of course Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu. But I see that some people misrepresent the message by their actions.
Yes.
And this is something I saw lots of times, and unfortunately by Muslims, and sometimes in the Middle East especially. Because I remember that during Sulh al-Hudaybiyah,
Yes.
it was the best time, or the most time that people converted to Islam. Why? Because they started to see how real Muslims act, and they loved it, and then they turned into
Yes.
Islam.
Yes.
These days, and this is really, really crucial and critical for our audience. As we said before, and this is something I consider it like oxygen to Islam. You are an ambassador to Islam. You are like a small Omar. So your actions will tell about you, because there is a saying that we all know, actions speak louder.
Yes.
So let's say that you are telling the message of Allah for a friend of yours who is not converted into Islam yet, and you are speaking about it very well, fine. But when your friend, or the one who you are telling him or her the message of Allah, sees you in negative situation or negatively acting, how could be this? He will think that Islam is just ink on paper and just wording, not actions. Correct?
Yes. Actually, when we look at when we looked at the model that we have.
Yeah, the Ojas model.
Yes, so we start with the objective.
Yes.
Or our vision. And this would be, our vision is at least not trying. Our vision is to spread the right word of Islam all over the world.
Yes.
Okay? Our goal is at least giving to or being a great example as a Muslim. Okay? Our strategy is going to be through media or through people that we know. We are going to introduce ourselves as Muslims, and they're going to see our actions daily, helping the neighbor, saying the justice, giving help.
Yeah.
All of this. It's very important that a Muslim does it. So this is our strategy. Our measure, how many people are going to ask the right questions about Islam.
That's an amazing utilization of the model.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And the last thing, whose responsibility is this? It's our responsibility as a Muslim.
Yes.
Okay. This would be a great objective that we could use as Muslims. And this is how using a simple model like this, and to taste technology in helping in becoming a small Omar, radiallahu anhu, warḍah. So I suggest all the people to try this.
Actually, I do so, because we have been discussing the UJSM for 2 or 3 episodes till now, and we were discussing each step, how to set an objective, how to set a goal, how to set the measures, and how to fill the column of who is responsible.
Yes.
Because sometimes people, when they start to strategic plan, to strategize, actually the process is funny, because sometimes it turns into dreams. I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this.
Yes.
And it comes wishes.
Yes.
I wish to do this. But there is a big difference between what you are going to do and what you wish to do.
Yes.
What you wish to do, fine. And what you are going to do, they should be aligned. Don't make a whole basket of wishes that you will not be able to do or implement and never get deviated. We have been speaking about this in previous episodes in more details. And this what will support you to be real small Omar radiallahu anhu, because these are the actions. These are the implementation. How many people heard and read about Omar radiallahu anhu warda? Many times. Did you act like him? No. The tools we are giving you during life choices will support you to be small Omar, but you have to follow this.
Yes.
All right. So, and concerning, again, back to Omar radiallahu anhu and strategic planning.
Yes.
Omar was preparing for who is next, despite he didn't know who is next.
Yes.
But he was building, which is, I see that some families and parents these days, they build the future for their children, who save some money for them, buy them some real estate, piece of land, stocks and some stocks, some cars, real tangible assets.
Yes.
But what could be the greatest heritage families could provide their children with?
Okay, first of all, of course, becoming good Muslims. This is number one.
So
Teach
number
the
one,
children.
becoming good Muslims.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is your education.
Education, and I do care about education.
Yes. And the most important thing with education is that when you have a child,
Mm-hmm.
you must see what kind of hobbies do they have. What do they like?
Yes.
And you start to invest in this.
Mm-hmm.
And you become very, very, very supportive with anything. Let's say that the child has a very, very good voice. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
We can teach him how to say the Quran and read it in a good way. And the thing with the vocals and the sounds and all that inside the throat, there are muscles that
Yes.
you can actually use,
Mm-hmm.
and this would help you out. And this needs professionals.
Yes.
So this is very important, that if you have a child of such a kind,
Mm-hmm.
or a child who can draw,
Yes.
okay, and it's very important that a child will learn how to do the writing, how to write the Quran,
Yes.
how to write the right letters in Arabic,
Yeah.
etc., etc. So the second thing and most important is education.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The third thing is that you are the values.
Yes, and this is something that's really important, because if you're well educated, and I see that education is like the vehicle
Yes.
for you to drive your road.
Yes.
So I don't care about investing and leaving heritage like tangible assets, but I do care about education,
Yes.
learning about Islam and learning about real, these days, education.
Yes.
And then the values comes in order to make this education on the right way for Islam.
Yes.
Because I see that making an atomic bomb made by education,
Yes.
and it's very, very deep science,
Yes.
complicated science.
Yes.
But at the end, what does it do? An atomic bomb can kill millions in
Just
seconds.
like that. Yeah. And at the same time, it could give you nuclear power. Okay.
Exactly.
Yes.
So the values here comes by this. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم
Yes.
وإنك لعلى خلق
عظيم.
عظيم
Yes.
وليس على علم عظيم.
Yes.
You are highly ethical, not highly educated. Why? Because education without values, it comes a curse, not a gift. We need to make our education as gift, not a curse.
Yes.
And the clearest example is the atomic bomb.
Yes.
So how much does it take to build a nuclear power plant? Billions
Yes.
of costs, manpower, facilities, lots of things.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you do spend billions to make an atomic bomb, or you spend billions as well to make nuclear power.
Yes. I remember during, in the past, in
Mhm.
history, during the wars, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a traffic problem. Till now, we have a traffic problem in
Yeah,
Egypt, okay?
yes.
And during that time, we didn't have that much buses.
Yes.
And they said, okay, we're going to buy a tank or a bus for the people. And this is, it's the same costs. Okay? And it's a problem.
Yeah.
You want to transform the people, or you want to fight. So actually, yes, it's very
Actually,
important.
I see this all comes with the vision, what you want to do.
Yes.
Because this is what will direct it. And actually, this is concerning planning and how Omar was, radiallahu anhu, was the great strategist to learn and get inspired by. And actions, not just the history or the story of Omar. What did Omar do, and how can I do this with the same concept and idea of Omar, radiallahu anhu? Because every time has its own era, circumstances, and changes. Our time has some things that are bad, disadvantage. It has some advantages. So please use it, and use it in how to plan for your life and the message of Allah. Before we close and end this episode, I'd like to thank Mr. Ahmed Afifi.
Thank you for
so
having
much.
me. Thank you.
And thank you for being with us. Thank you so much for everyone who is watching us. Please stay on our social media on Facebook and YouTube in order to tell us what do you think about it, because as I said before, you are the fuel for this show to serve you at its best. Thank you so much, and see you next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Choices, chances, dreams and goals, many mixed emotions in my heart and soul. For some I made a plan and did the best I can. If God wills, things can happen. After all, I'm just a man. Choices, chances, dreams and goals, many mixed emotions in my heart and soul. For some I made a plan and did the best I can. If God wills, things can happen. After all, I'm just a man.